Hi, I'm Jennifer Von Stein, and today I'm going to be showing you the difference between wet and wet blending and glazing using Atelier Interactive Professional Artist Acrylics. What I have here are a swatch of transparent yellow and a swatch of cerulean blue. Now, both of these colors I set off to the side because I'm going to be glazing on top of them. Here in the center, I want to show you what wet and wet looks like. And wet is when you mix wet colors together. Now, this is a technique that's really easy to do with interactive because interactive is the only acrylic that will allow you to use both wet and wet blending techniques as well as wet over dry glazing techniques. Because all you need to do is just use your water sprayer. If you want to work wet and wet, you would just spray when your paint feels touch dry, or if you don't want to paint wet and wet, you withhold that moisture. It's really pretty simple. So here I have a nice rich color, and this is from using wet and wet techniques. Now, glazing. Glazing is when you apply a transparent layer of color, a translucent layer of color on top of another so that it almost looks like stained glass. It's layer of color upon layer of color, and the light will travel through those films so that you can see. It totally changes the difference, the color underneath. Now, there are three mediums that I recommend to use for glazing. They would be our clear painting medium, our slow medium, and our thick slow medium. All of these have slightly different functions. The clear painting medium will provide a nice mid-viscosity paint, and it makes for a very nice glaze. So a good glazing ratio is usually about 80% medium. I'll put some out here, to about 20% paint. So I'll take some paint here, a little bit of my transparent yellow, and I'll mix this right over here. And you can see that it's making a nice creamy paint. Now, I'm going to apply this glaze on top of my cerulean blue. Doesn't that look pretty? And see how the green looks different from the green that I made working wet and wet. This is a more richer color, one that's truly blended, while this one I have a film of color going through. And even if this is just a little too much of a glaze, I can just take a rag or some paper towel. I'll get a paper towel over here. And I can just even, wipe some back and make this effect look even more subtle. Now it almost looks a little bit, you see more of that blue come through. If I wanted more time to work with my glazes, then I'd probably want to go and make my glaze out of the slow mediums. The liquid slow medium is a wonderful medium. It's going to add more time to the paint, and I'll pour some out here. And for this glaze, I'll mix up a little bit of some of my cerulean blue. And I'll mix this up here. And you can mix with a palette knife or with your brush. Pick up just a little bit more paint. There we go. And I always like to test my glaze first, see how dark it is. It's not too dark. And here, it's a totally different type of green that I'm making. And this is using cerulean blue. Now, cerulean blue is a semi-transparent color versus my transparent yellow, which is a transparent color. So by using a semi-transparent color, it's just a little bit more opaque. Not much, but just a little bit. If I wanted to wipe this one down too, so I can see, make it a little bit more subtle, I can just use a rag, wipe some away. And now I have a very, very light greenish shade on here. Now, if you want to have a glaze that's a little bit more textural, one that really you see the brush stroke for, then I would recommend the thick slow medium. Thick slow medium is more of a gel medium, and a little of this can go a very long way. And I'll pick up some of my transparent yellow and add this to my thick slow medium. There we go, make my glaze from here. And I'll apply this on top of here. This one you can see definitely holds the brush mark. So this is wonderful to use for an impasto glaze. Now this one definitely will take longer to dry. This is also a medium I like to take out when I do some plein air painting with my interactive acrylics because it keeps the paint nice and juicy. There we go. So you can see that on a white surface, my color is still holding its shape and its hue. It's definitely still yellow, but because it's a transparent color, because I'm using it as a glaze, when I apply it on my cerulean blue, it changed the color entirely to the green. And all these greens are different because of the different glazing techniques that I've used. The strength of the glaze, the medium that I've used, as well as the color. So I would encourage you to try glazing in those refining stages of your painting when you want to kind of subtly enhance that color in a different way from doing wet and wet techniques. For more information on glazing and working wet and wet with interactive, please visit our website at www.chromaonline.com.